Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. My name is Taylor, and welcome to the brand new bullet heaven arena survival shooter, vampire survivor, like whatever you want to call it, Bad Egg. Now, for full disclosure, I did receive a copy of this game via Keymailer, so thank you to Keymailer and Blue Wizard Digital, who are both the developer and publisher of this game, for gifting me a code. As I've said before, and I will say a million times more, I will not let this affect my review of the game. I will keep all of my thoughts completely separate from the fact they've given me a code, though I do want to point out this game is in early access and therefore not feature complete. A lot of things can and might change between the time of this recording and the time of release of the game. Now, to get into it, I did some research on this game, especially based on the Steam page, and I had seen that they have done one other game called Shell Shock, which is actually a free-to-play, first-person online multiplayer shooter that I will not be showing you footage of because that is literally the worst genre for me to play because I am absolute flaming garbage. But it's funny because it also features eggs and numerous weapons where you're just, again, shooting at each other, trying to capture the flag, trying to do whatever. But they took the egg-based shooter and they moved it into this, I'm just going to call it bullet heaven to make it easy, where you play as a quote-unquote bad egg fighting some rambunctious chickens, which honestly kind of look like zombies. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little weird how they're green and mutated, but okay. So this begs the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, presumably the chicken, because then it hatched the egg, or it's, I don't know, popped the egg out and the egg was like, then the egg was like, cluck, cluck, mother, and then bang. But who knows? Who knows? According to this game, that's probably what happened. There's, as I'm sure you've guessed, no real story to it. You are quite literally just an egg shooting down chickens. The crux of this game, as with most of these types of games, is its meta progression. So as you go through shooting all these chickens, hunting them down, and collecting their golden eggs, you are gaining currency to buy various upgrades. Now, these upgrades come in the form of, simple things like extra health or better reload speed, but also more complex upgrades like an attack drone, grenades, revival, regenerating health, and all this other miscellaneous stuff, which was kind of cool. Now, there are quite literally hundreds, if not thousands, of games in this particular genre. I know because I've played many of them. I know because John has played many of them. And I am well versed in kind of what I enjoy, what I think is good, and maybe what's not for me. I want to be very upfront. I really enjoyed this game, and I think for its price of $4.24 Canadian, which, by the way, huge shout out to the fact that this is a Canadian developer who, in their message via Keymailer, shouted out the fact that I was a Canadian, and that's part of the reason they gave me a code. Want to represent that great north? Let's go. It is a little bit dangerous for me to be saying that here in South Korea, so if I'm not making videos after this, well, you know why. Anyway, I think $4.24, so about, I would assume $4 US, or regional equivalent, is a fantastic price for this type of game, because it's not the kind of thing where you're putting in hundreds or thousands of hours. You're putting in like 30 minutes every week or so because you want to just relax, shut your brain off, shoot some chickens, shoot Chickenzilla, which I feel like could have been named a little better. Like something like, I don't know, the Fowl Lord or something like that. And I mean, it's still early access, they can still change it, but one thing I did want to point out with this game is the lack of egg or chicken based puns that they seem to have in the multiplayer shooter Shell Shock. Like when I just hopped into that right before doing this audio recording, when I got killed, it said I had been scrambled by, I can't even remember his name now. I know it was an egg based pun though, and it was really funny. Now, you do have things like the Scrambler, which is the shotgun, or other miscellaneous things that are egg-based puns, but they're not as prevalent as I want them to be. And I think that's one of the areas where this game needs to improve, is that it just really needs to focus and lean into the fact it is eggs. Outside of the title, outside of some of the, puns that they have, they need more. They need to really hammer home that theming of eggs. Because it's funny. Anyway, the other area that I feel the game does need to improve on is making itself more unique and stand out in the genre. As I said earlier, this genre is flooded with multiple games that are doing almost the same thing, but, slightly different. And I'm not sure if Bad Egg has found its niche yet. Now, I did put about 45 minutes into the game, which is less than I try to, though it is becoming more of a trend than I would like these days with me reviewing certain games. But the gameplay with this one felt a little more simplistic and kind of justified that shorter game time. And I had experienced most of what the game had to offer. I'd gotten pretty much every upgrade to at least the first tier. I did not survive a full 10 minutes, but it does get pretty hectic at times, and we'll get into that in just a minute. The problem that I ran into is that everything felt like something I'd done before. And not in a bad way, not in a derivative way, but just the pure nature of this style of game, being a shooter roguelike bullet heaven, is it's all going to come down to how unique are your upgrades, how unique are your aesthetics, how unique are your enemies. Now, admittedly, I've never played as an egg before, at least in this type of game, and I've never had to shoot chickens before in this type of game. So those two things are automatically unique by their very design. The problem comes in with the fact that all of the upgrades are, most of the upgrades are a little too generic, or they've been done before. Like, again, the extra health is percentage based, the extra reload speed, things like that have all been done before. What I thought was interesting was the grenades that you can get, so you can get freezing grenades, or napalm grenades, or regular grenades, as an upgrade that you then kind of unlock as you level up. You can also get an attack drone, which kind of confuses me, but I want to talk about this. So, with the attack drone, it seems like it fired the opposite way of where you were looking. So, like, if I was looking right, it would be shooting to my left, and vice versa. It didn't really handle vertical aiming very well. It was purely on a horizontal plane, which I think also needs to be addressed when you have this 3D environment, when you can move in all, not technically 360 degrees because it's an isometric view, but anyway, when you can move up, down, left, right, diagonal, I feel like the attack drone needs to be able to aim at those vertices as well, not just on that horizontal plane. So it was definitely a little limited, but overpowered when you were able to mow down a group of chickens with it, which felt awesome. But the unfortunate thing is that's kind of as far as the uniqueness goes. Now, the environment's kind of generic. The characters, again, pretty unique. I did only unlock the second character, Crash, who starts out with a shotgun, which was awesome. And there is one more mechanic that is sort of unique, but sort of, again, more common, which is like the in-map upgrades, like the stuff you find in crates that just gives you kind of bonuses. Some of these were great, some of these were not so helpful. Like the 4 times damage was awesome. It felt great to have that because I would just mow things down. But then the speed boost, I was like, holy crap, like you just go, you just gun it. And you don't realize you picked it up until you either like you smashed the crate, you knew what was there and you picked it up intentionally, or you smashed the crate not realizing it was there and suddenly you're halfway across the map and it's like, what just happened? Or you've run into a group of enemies that you weren't anticipating because they were, halfway across the map, but suddenly you're right in there. It's because that speed boost launches you. And I think it needs to be toned down a bit because it got way too chaotic, way too fast whenever I got it, especially when I didn't mean to. But something like the magnet, again, is something we're used to, but it's also rather generic. I get why it's there mechanically speaking, but I do wish it was just a little bit more interesting. Like, instead of a magnet, maybe have like a basket for, Easter eggs or something like that, right? Like, again, play into that egg theming just a little bit more so you can have a more unique experience. Now, all in all, I think this game was a lot of fun. I don't think this is world-shattering. I don't think this is going to change anyone's minds on the genre. If you don't like the genre, this game probably isn't for you. I quite enjoyed it because, again, it's mindless fun. I got 45 minutes of it. Maybe I'll play 45 minutes next week, and then next week, and then the week after that. But this isn't the kind of game where you sit down for 2-3 hours and just waste all that time, because it's not as expansive as something like Vampire Survivors. And that's fine. This is still early access, and it just came out of early access, rather just came out in early access on December 7th, 2023. So at the time of recording, it's only been out in early access for like 5 days. This is not something that has been out for months and months, and it's given the developers a lot of time to fix bugs or add content. This is a brand new IP that I think has a lot of potential. They need to make sure they realize it. They need to fill that glorious omelet with all the unique content they can. And to do that, they better get cracking. I promise those are the only 2 egg-related puns that I have in this video. At least I hope so. If I've made any that I didn't realize, I am sincerely disappointed in myself. And you should be disappointed in me too. So make sure to comment down below all of your favorite egg-based puns. I loved reading puns. They're the best thing ever. I also love dad jokes, so if you have any related to eggs, please leave those down there as well. With all that being said, thank you, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, so much for watching this little interview. Make sure to check out Bad Egg. I will leave a link down in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!